Right, you are almost on camera.
I have to say something on camera? So then, or Al notices me?
You're live. You're live.
Now I'm live? All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joe Rand. I'm the mayor of Nyack. This is a special meeting of the Village Board of Trustees for the Village of Nyack. It's July 7th, 2026, a few minutes after 2 o'clock. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. Where's the flag? Flag is behind. How is close as we get? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We are here. I have no particular remarks. Anybody have any particular remarks? Or otherwise we save them for the next big meeting. Public comment. No one's here for public comment. We have one action item. And that action item is 4.1 Resolution 26-134 to consider acceptance and approval of proposed settlement in a lawsuit. Can I get a motion?
Motion. Second.
That's Joe and Donna. And Andy, why don't you tell us what, for the record, what this is all about?
Yeah, let me get our attorney on the speakerphone so that she can participate. All right. Give me a second. I'll frame it for you, then she can get into the weeds. Hey, Christina, it's Andy. Hey, I'm here with Mayor Joe Rand, trustees Carlin and Donna Cooper Lightfoot, and Lightfoot Cooper, and also Linda, our clerk. And I thought I'd give them a little bit of a background, and we're going to go through this settlement draft together, and you can answer questions they might have.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so
Which attorney?
this is Christina Solar. She's assigned by our insurance company. Our insurance covers legal defense anytime we get sued.
Okay, can you make sure she's aware that we're in public hearing?
Yeah, and you are in a public hearing right now, Christina, just so you know. Where our audio is going live on YouTube live broadcast. So back in 2021 or so, before I came on board, the owners of 103 Gedney lodged a complaint against the village, which was referred to insurance. They assigned Christina, maybe Christina's predecessor, I'm not sure if she originally had the case or not. And essentially, when that building was built, it was built with a storm drain pipe that connects the street, Gedney Street, to the Hudson River. It actually goes under the corner of their building. It was built in a way and designed that these days would never be approved because it can't be accessed for maintenance. There is no village easement or ownership involved. The plaintiff has been trying for a few years now to kind of make the case that the village should be responsible for this pipe. It was part of a site plan that the building was originally approved for. The outfall is under a beach. It's heavily impacted by tidal action, storm surge, and those kinds of effects. There has been, they finally came around and spent a little bit of money to televise the line and get an engineer's report, which we got last week, which kind of catalyzed the process of talking further with them, because finally we had something to talk about. And the report shows there are some defects in the pipe, some separations between segments, and also some maintenance issues on our catch basin in the street with some bricks that have fallen down and passed along through the pipe. Mainly, as you go down the pipe, eventually you go underwater because the tidal action brings water in, and the outfall section, say the last 50 to 75 feet, are heavily impacted. And I don't think the television actually got that far because of the various blockages and so on. As I said before, the outfall is under a beach. It's largely covered up depending on the tide and the status of the sand piling up. So 103 Gedney has been trying to make the case that someone else should fix this. We've been looking at the law and feel comfortable in the position that a private property stormwater system is private owner's responsibility. But given the vicissitudes of the courts and some uncertainties in the underlying law, Christina has advised us to consider a settlement, which we started working on last week. The concern is, and Christina can get further into this, that the law does not provide a crystal clear defense, saying essentially it's private property, therefore you own it, because of the connections to the public streets. And she has to get into that further.
Yeah, well, if we're gonna talk any of the legal strategy or the legal advice that we've gotten, if you're going to an
Oh,
executive session.
thank you for that, Joe. Yeah.
So let's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't need
thanks.
to talk about that here. We can just talk about that generally. We've gotten recommended the settlement agreement that's in front of us. If anyone would like to ask questions about the rationale behind the settlement agreement, we can go into an executive session.
Okay.
That's up to the trustees. If you just want to ask her if she thinks this is the.
In terms of
appropriate
our legal position or strategy, that should be executive session. I understand that. Yeah, that's a good point. The settlement has two parts. Last week, it dawned on me that we could include this project in a grant through the state that pays for improvements to stormwater systems, particularly when they're affected by climate change, like outfall in the river would presumably qualify for that. Our grant writer says it is eligible as a project. The thought occurred to me that if we have an agreement to sort of suspend legal questions until perhaps we have external funding to build a solution to this problem, we might all, in partnership with this developer, have a solution which is good for everybody and good for our neighbors and so on. So in an effort to try to help, we decided we would recommend applying for this grant. And Christina's been working with the plaintiff's lawyer to hash out some specifics around shared cost. The grant would pay for the majority of the project, but there'd be a local match, and who knows if the project would run over the grant amount, and so on. So we have some language in here. If we get the grant, we have some language in here if we don't get the grant, which again is a shared cost kind of model, which Christina can spell out a little further. My biggest concern is that our valuation of the project, usually things turn out more expensive than expected, and so I'm a little worried about that. But we did have our engineer looked at the project, their engineer looked at the project, they came up with numbers in the vicinity to $150,000 to $200,000. And hopefully that is the actual project cost, once it's designed and contracted out and built. This settlement would essentially have the plaintiff suspending their claim pending the completion of the project. And once it's complete and satisfactory to all, they would abandon their case against the village. Christina, did I do an okay job of summarizing that?
Yes.
I would say also that you and I, together with the building department and the DPW and our engineer, spent a substantial amount of time just learning about the site, looking at old maps and deeds and trying to find if there's any credibility to underlying claims of village ownership or maintenance. The village has never owned or maintained this pipe. And we learned a bit about the approval process back in the 60s when the building was built, and concerns that nowadays our planning board would never approve a stormwater system that went under a building and couldn't be accessed for any maintenance purposes. And typically a developer now would build a stormwater system to our village engineers' standards and then ask the village to own it through an easement. That never happened. So that's sort of the situation we're in. Christina, you want to say more about this settlement agreement?
Not in public session, if that's okay.
I have a question. So,
That's Joe Carlin with a question.
hi,
Christina.
Christine, how you doing? In general, just to Andy, so according to this agreement, the village will now, going forward, be responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of the stormwater system.
Christina, could you answer that? Because in reading this, I didn't see reference to a permanent easement to the village here. Is that in there somewhere?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
There is a section, future system maintenance and repair, and it says the plaintiff shall provide the village with an easement in a form that is reasonable and necessary.
Right, but that the village would be responsible.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
easement to enter onto the property.
Correct, correct.
Is there another copy of that?
Is it gonna utilize the same path? Or
No.
are we gonna try to get it out from under the building?
Yeah, the design would be for an entirely new pipe conveying street
Okay.
water to the Hudson River without going under a building. It's all parking lot around the building, so access, aside from digging up some parking spaces and landscaping and so on, it's a fairly straightforward engineering project. Our engineer proposed a different concept design than theirs did. And so I don't know if Christina, if they've expressed a strong preference one way or the other. I mean, it's a little early. As non-engineers, we probably shouldn't be trying to make that call at this time, but is that also a matter for discussion?
Yeah, so that's still open. They're open to really deferring to our engineering proposal as long as their engineer signs off on it, which it seems like he would do. But we are expected to meet and confer and have our engineers meet and confer to discuss the best and most cost-efficient proposal.
What precipitated all of this? Was there any leaks? Were there any drainage issues on the property?
There was I think precipitating the 2021 claim, the building owners had to excavate their basement to fix a sewer problem. And in the process, they discovered stormwater kind of infiltrating into the area of the sewer pipe, which is aligned roughly with the stormwater pipe. So they discovered the deterioration of the stormwater pipe and presumably the impacts from the tidal and Superstorm Sandy probably had some impacts and so on. So that was their original discovery. And then they spent a lot of time just kind of, they didn't invest in any engineering diagnosis or conceptual solutions until they were sort of persuaded to do that. And so now we have a good deal more information about what problem actually exists there and how to fix it.
Oh, that answered my question. Anything else?
No, I remember this.
Now, do you recall from
Mhm.
back in 2021? Because it predated me.
Yeah, I've been on board since 2016. I remember this coming up.
Yeah, I will say that there are other cases of parts of the stormwater system going under private property, which have always been a concern. And from the perspective of liability, it's sort of frustrating to see the lack of an absolutely conclusive legal principle saying what's private is private, public is public.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, it's sort of up to Christina to advise us on this, but a settlement does kind of indicate a direction of thought as to the winnability of this
Okay.
defense.
Christina, this is Joe Randall, the mayor. I just want to confirm with you that the settlement that we got sent to us today, and that we're looking at, the draft you got that you forwarded, I think.
Yeah,
from her.
around noon.
Yeah, that you approve of this and you're recommending it to us.
Yes, so as I told Andy, we got it later than expected, so there might be minor changes to the language, but the overall main agreement,
Yeah.
that's what it's going to be. So I would ask for both, yes,
And you recommend it's, that we approve it.
yes, I
Okay.
do.
Just want to get that on record. All right.
I don't know if this is for executive session, but I want to talk about precedents. That's something that we talk about now, or
Maybe executive.
No, it's not, that wouldn't be an executive session. So we don't need Christina for it.
Okay.
But you can ask for legal counsel in executive session if you want.
I'm saying, but all right, then, make a motion to go in executive session.
Just one idea might be.
Oh, we have to
If this board is comfortable with the settlement and its fundamentals, to approve that via vote and then go into executive session. That way I can turn off all the.
Okay.
Don't have to do anything.
All right, so, we've had a motion, we've had a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3 votes unanimously. Motion to go into executive session. Can I get a motion?
motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We will take no action after executive session other than to adjourn. Thank you for your attention on YouTube.